Like any other high school student here, I worry about normal things. Things like doing well in CJEP, getting good grades, getting a job, or even simple things like my insecurities. But I also worry about things that many other high school students might think is a little bit weird. I struggle with telling people or explaining to people where I'm from, or having people mispronounce my name 24/7, or going at the drive-thru with my Latino family. This all happens because I am a third culture kid, a TCK. For those who don't know what that means, third culture kids are kids who grow up in one country but whose parents are from another. Third culture kids build and create a culture of their own with their identity with aspects of 2 or more countries. Believe it or not, third culture kids are everywhere. 3.1% of the global population are expatriates, which is another name for TCKs. 3.1% might not seem like a lot, but think about it in a global scale. Out of billions of people, 3.1% of them are TCKs. Now, before getting into TCKs and the struggles they have to face, I will tell you a little bit more about my story. I was born in the United States in Peoria, Illinois. But when I was only 2 months old, I moved to Brazil, my parents' home country. I lived in Brazil until I was 13 years old, going to an American school where both American and Brazilian cultures were taught and valued. I didn't know anything about the city I was born in. I didn't know anyone from there or anything about that place, and I didn't even consider myself American since my whole family was Brazilian and so was I. So it just became a little fun fact that I would tell people. When I was 13, I moved to Canada. And let me tell you, that was a drastic change in my life. Being surrounded by so many unfamiliar things and people was really hard. But the hardest times came later on, which makes sense since so many TCKs end up suffering from depression. I myself didn't, but I have a few friends that did. Being a TCK means that you mature faster than everybody else because you've grown up with so many different realities. It forced me to become more independent and even a little lonely. Being a TCK means that you have to get used to all of these different changes around you, and a bunch of TCKs end up becoming outsiders in their own host countries. TCKs need to, they end up suffering from depression because of all the different surroundings, and they end up suffering from a loss of identity. Like, for example, for me, I felt a loss of identity because I wasn't able to feel like I was part of something so big, like a nationality, so important. Since I didn't know if I couldn't consider myself Brazilian enough, or American enough, or Canadian enough, and it was a big struggle. But I am not here to complain. Being a TCK is awesome. Being able to break language barriers and learn about so many different people and cultures, and just getting out of my comfort zone each and every day made me grow so much as a person. I became more open-minded since I was always adapting to new situations. And it got me thinking that if the whole world was mostly composed of TCKs, well, many of these big world problems like racism and wars, well, they would be solved. The whole world could unite into one nation, a nation of people from all around the world embracing each other's differences, instead of letting them tear us apart and just judging our differences. Inspirational people like Malala, Nelson Mandela, or J.K. Rowling could have been students in the same classroom, learning from each other's experiences. I'm not going to get carried away here, but being able to put all our unique minds together would make us become a large community, and we would learn and develop with each other's minds. So I am here to say that TCKs are the cultural breakers of the future. To everyone that isn't a TCK out there, please decide to be the person that welcomes us. And you would be surprised at all that you would learn being a friend of a TCK, you would become more curious, and you might be able to get inspired and travel somewhere yourself. And to every TCK out there, embrace this that makes you different, and accept that you'll have many places to call home. Thank you.